I think that founders face the need to make decisions in situations of uncertainty all the time, now more so than in the past, but really that is the definition of their job. And I try to give founders two tools to use for making these decisions. One of them is there to help them actually make a decision in a situation of uncertainty. And the other tool is there to help them deal with decisions that they've already made, knowing that the situation is going south, that things haven't gone as planned. How do you make decisions in scenarios of uncertainty? What's the main tool that I use? It may be simplistic, but I think it's helpful. I always tell my clients, let's imagine there were only 1,000 companies in the world, okay? 900 didn't even raise seed money. They didn't even get out of the bat. The founders split up. They didn't convince investors to invest. Something happened. There was new tech, the inflection point that made them irrelevant, etc. 100 will have raised money and started living. 10 companies will have actually succeeded. 8 companies will have actually succeeded. By success, I mean that they will have lived out a full company life cycle, 6 to 7 years, raised several rounds of financing, etc., etc. About 3 of those companies will be sold for actual return for the shareholders. But only one of those companies, one of those 1,000 companies, even though 8 lived the full life and 3 got sold, only one of them lived a textbook corporate life cycle and made all the right decisions in all the right junctures, won every negotiation, yada, 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 and got to the end point. So you can succeed in 8 different timelines out of 1,000, but there's only one where you're like a Facebook or a Microsoft or something like that. And then you know that there's one timeline out of 1,000 where you're Microsoft. You can sort of imagine that timeline. You can use guidance, consultants, mentors, even psychologists, certainly lawyers, accountants, investors, etc., to light your way on that one timeline. So you're at this point in time 6 years before the endpoint, before the Microsoft endpoint, and you have to make a decision. What I tell them is reverse engineer from the Microsoft timeline. Like imagine yourself 6 years from now as Microsoft. What would you have done? What do you reasonably think you would have done at this point in time if you were to be on the timeline where you're Microsoft? Here's an example. Let's say you hired a really promising CMO to your company and you took up a lot of money out of your first investment to hire this person. And within 4 months, you see that they are not really doing well. They're not performing, they're not meeting their goals. Now, you sold this person to your investors. You told your investors that this person is going to be a great success, yada, yada, yada. But you know by now, 4 months in, that this person is just not cut out for it. So there's a lot of rationalizing that can be done to keep this person in the role and appease the investors and try to make it work. But you can imagine that that's not what the one Microsoft timeline had in store for this person. That maybe is in the other 7, maybe, if you're a success. In the Microsoft timeline, deep down inside, you know this person is let go. You know that you found the guts to let this person go. And that's how I drive them to a decision that isn't really trivial, but it makes sense for them on that one timeline. So reverse engineer from great success and make decisions as if you're on the one successful timeline, even though there's a 99.9% chance that you're on the other timelines. So now you're spiraling out of control, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of things you don't control, and you do your best, and still things go south. And now the stress starts piling up, and in order to continue to make decisions rationally and calmly, you need to first relieve yourself of that stress. If you don't have time to go and seek help, if you're not meditating, if you don't have those skills acquired, I just advise founders to do what I do a lot in life, which is and then what drill. Okay, so this didn't work out. And then what? Like, so we're running out of money in 4 months, and we're trying to raise $2 million now. But nobody wants to invest $2 million. Okay, and then what? Okay, so and then we'll try and raise $400,000 for 2 months worth of work, and it'll be really hard. And then what? And then we might succeed raising $400,000 and live another 2 months, and then maybe we'll try to raise $2 million. Okay, but maybe we won't raise $2 million again. And then what? And then we'll run out of money. And then what? And then maybe our investors will not want to lose all their money, and they'll invest in us really at the very last second because they don't want to lose the money that they've already invested. Oh, okay, so you might be saved at the very last second. And then what? And then I'll be really diluted by this money because I won't have succeeded in the company. And then what? And then we'll get out of it. We'll get out of trouble, or we'll close and I'll find another job, or we'll get out of trouble, but I'll be severely diluted, but I will have saved the company. And then what? And then I'll ask for more equity, the equity that I got diluted by. Oh, really? So you get your equity back. So the more you do the and then what trick, you find out that your physical death is still very far away from you. There's a lot of things you can do to save your company, to save yourself, before, your biggest fears come to fruition, even when things aren't working out.